Do New Year's resolutions leave you feeling defeated before you even start? Well, for trauma survivors, rigid goal setting systems like SMART goals can feel like traps, reinforcing shame and fear of failure. For trauma survivors, rigid goal setting systems like SMART goals, for example, can feel like traps, reinforcing shame and fear of failure. But what if we could set goals that not only work with our brain and our nervous system, but also help you heal? What if you could focus on a flexible North Star, kind of a guiding light to inspire that healing and growth, rather than rigid, unforgiving New Year's resolutions, which almost never work anyway? Well, today I'm going to show you how a science backed, trauma informed framework helps you set trauma friendly goals that nurture your mind and your body. Hi, I'm Kitty. I am a trauma specialist here in Central Texas in private practice, and I make educational videos about mental health with real talk for real people just like you, using my clinical expertise as an EMDR therapist, informed by my lived experience of trauma and recovery. So if you come up with any questions about anything you hear in this video today, I want you to post them in the comments below, and I'll get to them as soon as possible. Okay. For most of us, traditional New Year's resolutions are built around rigid, all or nothing goals. So think about it. I'll go to the gym every day. I'll lose 20 pounds by March. And these goals are often rooted in external pressure and internal perfectionism. For trauma survivors, they can trigger feelings of shame and failure when things don't go as planned. That shame might lead to shutdown, a depression, feeling unworthy, self-criticism, anxiety, things like that. So if we can stay out of that perfectionism with those rigid New Year's goals, a lot of times we'll find greater success and improved mental health. Trauma wires your brain to be hyper aware of perceived failure. Those are protective parts of our mind, like the amygdala, jump into action when something feels too overwhelming. Suddenly, missing a single gym session becomes proof that you can't do it all, right? It's proof that you're a failure, proof. It's all this confirmation bias and proof and evidence that we can't reach our goals, that we can't get what we want, that we're shameful, unworthy, damaged, right? So here's where the concept of North Stars comes in. So unlike rigid goals, North Stars are about direction, not perfection. And North Star gives you a guiding light to follow, but it doesn't dictate how you get there. It's kind of a big picture intention, like I want to feel stronger and more connected to my body this year, instead of I have to lose 20 pounds. Because a North Star keeps you motivated because they focus on progress, not perfection. They allow you to pivot and adapt when life invariably, inevitably changes the plan. And when paired with the framework that we're going to get to in just a second, I promise, stay with me if you stay this far. Paired with this framework, they become a powerful tool for healing. So this framework was developed by Dan Siegel in his book, Mindsight, that's all about interpersonal neurobiology. And FACES stands for flexible, adaptable, coherent, energetic, and stability. And it describes the way that your brain needs to work in order to thrive. So we're going to break it down. Flexibility in goals allows room for adjustments when life doesn't go as planned. North Stars adapt to your circumstances and life's curveballs while keeping you moving in the direction of your dreams. In fact, skyscrapers and bridges are actually built with flexibility in order to weather things like high winds and earthquakes. So the benefit of a North Star and flexibility is that it helps you reduce fear of failure by creating a safety net for change. Trauma leaves us stuck in rigid thought patterns, all or nothing thinking, black and white thinking, things like that. But flexibility means giving yourself room to adjust without feeling like you failed. So if you plan to work out 3 times a week and life gets in the way, flexibility allows you to try again tomorrow instead of giving up entirely. If you think about like getting sick, for example, we're about to be in cold season or flu season, right? And you have a goal of like, I must lose 20 pounds by a certain date, and you can't go to the gym because you're ill. Well, that whole time that you're ill, one, you're not really going to be resting because you're going to be thinking, I'm a failure for not going to the gym and I should push through and all those kinds of things, right? But flexibility and having this north star really allows you to lean into rest and recovery. And you know what happens? You heal faster. You actually get back to the gym faster when you allow yourself to do what your body needs you to do. So adaptive might sound really similar to flexibility, but really it's a little bit different in that adapting means shifting your approach when challenges arrive. So trauma survivors often feel stuck. So fostering adaptability creates resilience and creates space to pivot when you get those curveballs. Adaptability is about responding to change with curiosity and not fear or negativity or self-criticism. If one approach isn't working, you just try another. So let's say your plan is to meal prep every week so that you can eat better and in a way that is in alignment with your health goals, for example. The reality is that maybe meal prepping every Sunday isn't going to work for you in reality. So adaptability is going to help you figure out that prepping for just one day instead might be helpful. Instead of preparing for the whole week, maybe in the evenings, you just prepare for tomorrow. So it's allowing you to pivot. Plan A isn't working. Let's go to plan B. What is a different way that I can accomplish the same goal in multiple ways that isn't quite so overwhelming, which will increase the success of the overarching plan? Another thought could be that maybe cooking isn't realistic for you on a particular day. You worked late, you're tired, but instead you have a list of a few places that provide healthy meals and you pick up some takeout on the way. So there's all different ways to achieve the goal when we stay in an adaptable and flexible state. It's not just about one way or the highway. It's about how are all the ways that I could achieve that goal keeps you rooted in curiosity and expansiveness and creativity. So coherence is about making your goals aligned with your values and your sense of self. For trauma survivors, this helps reduce internal conflict and shame. Reducing internal conflict and shame is critical for trauma survivors because it reduces that internal conflict and angst. Because instead of focusing on a specific weight, what if you asked yourself, how can I care for my body in a way that feels meaningful to me? It creates a harmony between your goals and your healing journey. So an example might be instead of weight loss as a goal, focus on feeling stronger. One great way to think about this is, what am I going to add to? Instead of taking away, which puts us in a scarcity mindset, what am I adding to my repertoire of movement or eating, right? Energized energy, for example, is about engaging in goals that bring vitality rather than draining you. So trauma survivors often feel depleted. So energizing goals are critical and create motivation with efficiency combined. So that's kind of where our 3 plans of getting some healthy food might come in. It's going to be, I'm going to meal prep on Sunday. Nope, that didn't work. I'm going to meal prep for the next day. Oh, that didn't work. I'm going to grab some takeout that's healthy for me. So we're staying out of scarcity because we're, one, adding to our menu, and two, we have multiple ways to achieve that goal. So energy comes from pursuing goals that light up rather than drain you. If exercise feels like punishment, for example, try finding something that sparks joy, like dancing, hiking, yoga. When you enjoy the process, you're more likely to stick with it. So finding joyful movement is a perfect way of achieving that goal of moving more, getting some exercise without falling into scarcity. So stability means grounding yourself in your goals in routines that foster safety and stability. So trauma can leave you feeling unmoored. So stability builds a foundation for growth. Stability anchors you in protective, predictable routines that foster a sense of safety. Trauma survivors thrive on stability because it provides a solid foundation for growth. Something as simple as a consistent bedtime for yourself or weekly self-care ritual can make a really big difference. It reduces overwhelm and creates a sense of security. So, when we grew up in a traumatized home environment, for example, a lot of times people go home and they don't know what they're going to walk into. There's a lot of unpredictability, and that sets kind of a nervous system setting of hypervigilance, activation. And so when we have predictability, that brings down that activation. Instead of thinking, what am I going to get today? What are things going to look like when I get home? And kind of staying active, we can settle down. What you might find coming up through this video and through this information is that you have this like running tape in your brain of like, well, that's stupid, or you can't do that, kind of these negative thoughts. And one thing I want you to think about is that's what your mind believes. What does your body believe? What does your body need? Because what you might find is that there's a difference between what you think and what your body feels. So if you can kind of maybe on one hand, hold the thought of what your mind thinks, and in the other, hold the belief of your body, mediate between the two. Your mind may have feelings or thoughts about your body, especially if you're someone with chronic illness or disability. It may think, oh, this, you're an idiot or stupid body, right? I am someone who has multiple autoimmune conditions, so I'm very familiar with this. I get really frustrated when they start acting up, but those are just my emotions and my mind. That's not what my body needs. What my body needs might be rest, might be to wear a brace as I have rheumatoid arthritis or things like that. So just noticing there might be a difference between what your mind thinks about your body and what your body actually needs. Just keep those things in mind that might come up for you, and that's okay. So let's see how this plays out with a common resolution of weight loss. We're just going to do a real world example of this. So instead of setting a rigid goal, like I'm going to lose 20 pounds by March, let's use the FACES inspired North Star framework, such as I want to feel stronger and more energized in my body. So our North Star, feel healthier and more energized in my body. That doesn't have any sort of rigidity to it. It's a flexible action step. So I will aim to make nutritious choices most days, but allow myself room to enjoy treats without guilt. I will move my body 3 times a week, but if I miss a day, I can try again tomorrow. Why it works? Because flexibility reduces shame and keeps you moving toward your goal, even when plans change. I will also say, make that if you are going to make a goal of a specific time workout per week, I want you to make that goal so ridiculously small, right? My goal is to work out 1 time a week. Now, here's why. Because when we do that, our chances of success go way, way up. And think about it. If your goal is 1 time a week and you do 3 or 4, you are going to feel like $1,000,000. Your adaptive North Star might be to build a consistent movement routine. So if I can't make it to the gym, I'll take a walk or I'll do a quick home workout instead. Adapting to setbacks builds confidence and resilience. My coherent North Star is I'm going to cultivate a positive relationship with my body. So maybe I'll focus on strength or mobility rather than numbers on a scale. I'll focus on habits that reflect my values, like eating to feel nourished rather than restricting to punish myself. Your energized North Star might be to bring joy into movement. Maybe you'll explore fun activities like dancing or hiking instead of forcing yourself into workouts you hate. I was a big Orange Theory devotee. I loved Orange Theory. And when I was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis, I started experiencing chronic inflammation, chronic pain. I was just constantly miserable physically. And I had to take a step back. That was what my body needed. Now, my mind had feelings about that and thoughts about that, but my body needed it more. And because my values are such that I need to be physically active, staying engaged, working with my trauma clients. It didn't make sense for me to keep working out in that way when I wasn't going to be able to show up for my patients in a way that aligned with my values. So I had to pivot. That is a way that you can set an energized North Star that's about joy and movement. I used to have joy in Orange Theory. And then that joy ended because all it was doing was causing me pain. So now I just do something else that brings me joy because there are multiple things that bring me joy, like scuba diving. Joy keeps you motivated and engaged. So our stable North Star might be to develop routines that foster both health and safety. So I'll prepare healthy meals on Sundays and set a bedtime routine for better sleep. I'll create a Sunday routine to prep meals and set myself up for success. I will go to bed at a certain time. I will get off my phone at a certain time. The stability creates a predictable foundation, reducing overwhelm. So with faces, you're not just chasing a number on a scale. You're creating a life that feels good and supports your healing. Your resolutions don't have to be perfect or about fixing what's wrong with you. They need to be kind, flexible, and aligned with your healing journey. You can set goals that nurture your mind, body, and spirit while making real progress toward the life that you want. They can be about meeting yourself with compassion, moving forward to a life that feels balanced, energized, and fulfilling. Let's make 2025 about moving toward your North Star with flexibility, self-compassion, and trauma-friendly practices. By following a North Star, you can set goals that truly support you where you're at and the reality of the life that you find yourself in. If you have made it this far, thank you so much. Like, subscribe, share, make this information more accessible to more individuals, hit that like button, all that good stuff.